Welcome to the Illuminati Broadcast. I'm your host, David Moore, and we have annoying neighbors who are building something and is making a lot of noise. So we're just gonna have to deal with it. Alright, so if you hear this noise like brrr, it's them. There we go. Psychic. What'd I tell you? It's getting worse. Alright, I don't know. It's 5 o'clock. It's almost 6. It's like, couldn't you do this earlier? 10:01. So today's October 1st. It's, what is it, a Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, I think? No, it's a Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, which is nice. It's relaxing. I love the Wednesday energy. So, today I was just like bringing down this shadow energy, and I was ripping apart at anything that was like false love around me. And then I'm like imbuing this like material wealth to draw in all of this like water energy, because that's also wealth. Let it come in and then kind of grab that water with this fire energy, but I'm letting the water like devour the shadow realm. Like I'm letting those dreams affect the shadows, so it's sinking in, and then I'm using that fire to kind of grab that water, and then I'm letting the light kind of shine through that fire, and then just creating some pretty cool magic spells. So trying to work on this like lesser banishing ritual where it basically protects you from any element. It helps you through any spell, because if we like to do it this way, every spell is going to be connected to these elements. And if we have somebody trying to do things to influence your life, that could be like this air energy. So then I can have this shadow energy from Mercury devouring that Venus energy, and then I can have that shadow energy shining, like it just being more healthy in a sense, where it attracts a lot of water energy, and that's going to be that dream energy, and make that eat that, and then have the fire energy eat it, and then go with my energy last and eating that. So it's basically like creating kind of like an orbital system that circulates these energies and kind of transmute it to make it more profitable for me, because I always want to stay ahead of the game. You're going to be in this world where there's a ton of different kind of people. You're going to meet different people with different elements and abilities, and the world is just so temperamental that if you don't really do something to make your way in it, it's not going to happen. Most people, they claw their way to the top, and they're like begging and begging and begging, and just disgusting. Me, I'm more into like, I'm just going to take what I want, but I'm going to do it the right way because I deserve it. I don't know. I want to do it in a way where it's like, I'm going to be so good at my magic that I'm just going to take what I want and everybody's going to give it to me. No ifs and or buts. Yeah, so I kind of want to talk about like my family's lineage just a little bit more today. I gave some information yesterday. And I want to try to work on it, because I never really talk to people about where I'm from, where my family's from, the history of it. So there's a lot of secrets in it, like things that I learned that my dad didn't learn, and things that my grandfather didn't learn, but then they taught me things that he wouldn't share with my dad, and then my dad taught me things that he wouldn't share with his dad. So there was a lot of like a blend of like information, and then I learned from the surroundings as well. Maybe we can start a little bit with the Freemasonry stuff. So with the Freemason, it's a community, and they're usually elders. They're not really young people, because young people they need to like live long enough. It has nothing to do with like, I don't know. It doesn't have anything to do with like their status in a way. It's more about like what they've done with their life and how far they're going with it. Because the older you get, the more wise you are. Like you must have did a lot of work to get there. So I had a lot of elders or seniors that were mentors, but also like, I don't know, kind of like teachers almost. So they would teach me about everything about Freemasonry. And these would be people that own businesses. They would be people that own gangs. These would be people that like influence the world, politicians, etc., things like that. And to me, it was just kind of normal to meet these people. It was normal to have them in my life. It was normal to be around them. Like, I kind of took them for granted, but like at the same time, I was really respectful of them, and I really enjoyed having them around. And they were always really attracted to that light that I had. And I think a little important detail is that like none of them were ever really creepy or try to do anything to me or hurt me or influence me in any way. They would always give me the option to learn on my own, and I would always ask questions, and I would always be curious to learn more, and I would always be able to get information from them. So I would learn a lot of things that would be considered conspiracy theories or like hidden knowledge or information compared to the public. So while you're a kid, learning how to go bathroom in a toilet, I already did that. When you're a kid, learning how to like talk or even say your ABCs or even count, I already knew how to do those things, and now I was doing way more. I was like associating with a lot of adults, so I was doing adult things at a young age, and I was learning, and none of it was negative. It was all very positive stuff. It was very like, even though I was a kid, even though I was a baby basically, I was still able to get what I wanted, and not necessarily like a spoiled brat, like, oh, I want this, I want that. It was more like, I'm willing to learn what this is, I'm willing to understand what it is. And I would even push issues like, what does this mean, what would happen if this happened, or I'll even ask questions about like topics or trends that were happening at that moment. So I would be learning a lot about Freemason stuff. So an important thing is like when you become an elder, there's this magic in the world, and it's connected with God, and then you have this religion. So then outside of the Freemasonry is like all the rest of the people, and everybody is kind of dumb. Everybody has like something that they're special at. So like we have Mercury up here, we have Venus over here, the sun, Mars, the moon, Jupiter, and everybody could be put somewhere. So like really aggressive people will be put down here in Mars, really calm people will be put in the moon, really good people that are good with finances will be put in Jupiter. But let's say they're also really good at fighting, so you have this like really cool dynamic. And then like all the girls would be towards Venus or the moon, and sometimes they'd be good at money, or they would even be good fighters. And then you would have me right here in the King sector, which is the sun. And then you would have all the kids over here in Jupiter, because you know you got to kind of keep an eye on them and take care of them. And then Mercury is seen as like this elder route, so a lot of elders would be up here. And I would be going through all these different realms, you know, like talking to all these different people. I know for a fact that kids don't do this when they're little, because I used to be a really good babysitter, and I used to have to watch everybody and everything and see everything that was happening. So I would know when there was like how the other kids would behave at my age. The other kids, they would just stick to the other kids barely, if they even got along with them. Like they would be too afraid to make friends. I would be having tons of friends, whether it be in school, outside, other gang members, kids, like everything that you could imagine. I had tons of friends, and then their parents would be my friends, and I would get their parents to be friends with my parents, and all these other things. And like I would be in there manipulating everything to a T. Like every day felt like forever, because I was like doing the most in a single day. When kids were like watching, if you're a kid and you're playing an iPad and watching TV all day, that wasn't me. Sometimes I would watch TV a lot, but those would be moments where like I accomplished something. So after I did like a whole bunch of business up here, I would have a little bit of time to watch TV, and I would just binge a little bit, and then I'll go back to business. But it also gave me a moment to be like, all right, you know, sometimes I can be a kid. I don't always have to be a gangster. I don't always have to be grown up. I don't always have to be a boss. But yeah, I did things that normal kids didn't do. So I would go into a lot of different businesses and like Freemason lodges, but also I guess you could call them ritual spaces in a sense, because they were areas that they would conduct businesses, but also they were kind of holy. So they had only certain people were allowed into those places, and I would get access to them all the time. And I had really powerful people around me growing up, so like all of that rubs off on you. And they were pretty young too, and some of them were older, and I would just talk to everybody, and I would always be worshipped in a way where they would give me everything I wanted, not in like a spoiled brat way, but in like you're doing good. Here, this is for you, like like a reward almost. But I think that's just because of how I train them after a while. So like the way I treat people and the way I affect them later on, like it just makes my job easier, and I just get what I want without having to ask too much for it, because they already know what I want. But yeah. So like even adults, my parents, everything that I wanted, I could do. I was basically the little king, the little boss. I could do whatever I want. I could say whatever I want, and it would come true. Kids don't have that power. They don't. They have to cry and beg for it and throw temper tantrums. I didn't have to do that. I'm sure that I must have done that every now and then, but I think they were more just for smaller things, not for things that were like really important or life changing. But yeah, so I got to learn a lot. I got to learn about like the Pentacles of Solomon. So everything that they use here that a lot of people would use. I had a lot of bikers in my family, so I could also like, they had a lot of secrets from their time. So there was a time before, so during the 90s, I was born in 89, so 90s era was a little bit different because everybody was kind of secluded in a way where everybody had their cliques and their niches. But in mine, I had a really interesting one because I could work with this type of people, these type of people, this kind of activity, this level of society. I had options. But when you're in different areas, like those families, they couldn't really talk to all the families in the neighborhood. These families couldn't really meet other people. There was like very limited resources. And they were not very, they didn't have all the options out there. But I had tons of options. Normal kids don't have that growing up. So, and I had to learn things. I had to learn like right from wrong. I had to learn standards. I had to learn virtue and honor. I had to learn what respect is. And I didn't have to give it. I was always given everything that I wanted because they knew that like I was special because, I'm a Moore O'Neill. So what that means is that Moore means great. So if you ever see like more in Hebrew, it means great. In Irish, it means great. It just means better, the most, the best, That's what I am. I'm just the best. And I'm Ashkenazi. So, yeah. So, that just means my bloodline's above every other bloodline. It's better than yours. It's better than anyone you'll ever meet. There's no bloodline better than mine. Like, my bloodline is just pure, legit, like diamonds, gold, silver, everything you could dream of, every gem. And you're just dirt compared to me, if we're going to be honest. And that's okay for me. That's okay. Before I used to be like, oh man, I don't care who you are, I gotta help you. Like, I gotta help everybody. I gotta be so nice to people. And I meant it from the bottom of my heart. But at this point, it's like, no, like I kind of have to take responsibility for, my lineage. I have to, I have to take the staff. I have to take the power and I have to run with it. I have to use it. Like, I can't just pretend that my family isn't almighty powerful, and I can't pretend that I'm not the head of it. I can't pretend that I'm not the boss, So, like, everything I would do it to manipulate people, but train them at the same time. That's why I love video games like Monster Rancher and Digimon and Pokemon, because when I was younger, I was doing that already. I was training people how to fight. I was teaching them how to like do things that were bad. I was teaching them how to do good things. I was teaching them everything so they can take care of themselves and do everything that I wanted and get rewarded for it and just kind of live my life out and just be pampered, But there was also times where I kind of gave them a lot of freedom. So I kept teaching them how to be free. I kept teaching them how to do things their own way, because back then people didn't know how to do everything. Like, how you have Tim the Toolman Taylor? Like, he's a guy that can do a lot of things. He can fix things, he can make things, he could do a lot. So he has a whole bunch of options. But you can't make a bridge, you can't make a house, you can't do all these things, so you're limited. But he can do a lot. And he has resources, he has money, he has tools, etc., etc. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, I gave people a lot of tools to be able to live their own life free. Before, you wouldn't see people be disrespectful, you wouldn't see them do weird things, you wouldn't see them be authentic, because they had to be a certain way or else they would get hurt or killed, or somebody else would get killed because of them or something, like you would just put your family and your own life in danger, because things were really dangerous back then. I think something important to know now is that it's not as dangerous as it was back then. So a lot of people get away with a lot of crazy things that they do nowadays. Back then, no, like you couldn't do any of those things. It was way too dangerous. And my favorite part was that I grew up with the most dangerous people. So they were like top of the top criminals. Like you couldn't touch them. Like I was completely safe. I had everything that I could ever dream or imagine. And I was, not next in line, because I was already in the line. Like I was in front of the line. I was above the line. Like it belonged to me, basically. So for me, it was like a really good experience. I loved it. I loved training people. I loved making them better. I loved making them stronger. I loved watching them do what they did. I loved the power. It was so amazing. It was so beautiful. But I also really loved helping people. I really loved helping people that couldn't help themselves. I loved helping people that were beneath me. I loved helping people that were weak or that were wounded or people that didn't understand. Because you go through a lot of trauma. So back then, like I would say in the 80s, there was probably a lot of wars, a lot of battling. So then after, when people came out of that, they were scarred. They were like, I can't trust nobody. I can't trust nothing. I have to hold this pain inside so I can use it to fight when I need it. Because when you fight, you can't really be weak. You have to just become a savage, and you have to go after what you want and do what you need to do to get rid of the other person. And I would heal people. I would teach them how to come back to the world. I would bring them back to society. I would give them back the family they needed. I would give them the things that they wanted and needed. They wouldn't even know that they wanted or needed it until I gave it to them. I would help people, all kinds of people, my own people, everybody I can imagine to help. If I had a moment to help them, I would help them. And that was my greatest downfall, because I gave them, the mannequins, the chance to get back on their feet and to fight and to be able to make this world so peaceful and so prosperous that now it's not worth anything. Like, you're alive right now, but you're not worth anything. You're worth zero. You're worth nothing. And the reason is because, yeah, sure, maybe you might be smart, maybe you might be educated, maybe you might know a million billion things, but it's worthless. If you're going to go to hell, it's worthless. And the odds are you're going to go to hell. And why is that? Because you're nobody. You're worthless. You're not anything. So, in my family, there's this lineage, alright? It comes from the Moore O'Neill. So that means royalty AF. Like, your king's blood. That's what I have. And it only goes down to the boys. And it only goes down to one boy in the whole family. So I know for a fact there's nobody else out there like me, because I would look for them. I would be like, are there any other kids in school like me? I would know everybody in school, the teachers, the students, their parents. I would like talk to everyone, and I would like investigate everything. And I'll be like, nope, you're just another normal human. You're just another normal human. You're really gifted, but you're just another normal human. And even if I met them, I would still try to raise them, like bring them up, make sure that they grow up strong and intelligent. And I would bring a lot of fundings to my school because I was so smart and educated. I would ask the best questions. Sometimes in class they'll be like, please stop asking questions, because it's like they learned so much that they just started advancing. But before, kids, I'm gonna tell you, they were not smart. They had nothing in their brains. Yeah, so let's see. I think a part of why it's so hard to talk about is because for me it was very normal to live through it, so I didn't really have to ever bring it up. I didn't ever have to like think about it too much. I didn't have to like bring it out. And to top it off, it's kind of dangerous to bring out information because it can hurt people. But now at this time and era and age, sharing who I am isn't necessarily gonna hurt me or anybody I know. It's gonna hurt the mannequin, and the mannequin is the person that's gonna go to hell. The mannequin is the person that doesn't want my story to be real. The mannequin is the person that doesn't want to believe these kind of things. The mannequin is the person that wants to live this false narrative. The mannequin is a person that's just gonna keep living their life, and they're just an obstacle, to be honest. And I've already talked about it in other videos. The purpose of the mannequin is to get in your way. But the thing is, you can't hurt the mannequin, because the mannequin, there's so many of them, there's no point in hurting them. You have to spiritually destroy them to prove that there's a God. because they don't believe that there's a God. They can say there's a God, they can go to church, they can be wearing crosses around their necks, but they don't mean it. They don't believe in God that way. They believe God is going to send them to hell, but they don't believe that God is... They don't believe God's better than them. They believe they're better than God. So that's a big no-no. For me, I can say that. I know I'm better than God because I am God. Like, my bloodline is, like, legit. Them, no. The Manikins, no. They'll never have this bloodline because they're never going to be born into it. And I'm never spreading it out, so they're not going to be... There's no leeway for them. There's no options. So basically, it's the end game. It's like Revelations, like the end of the world kind of stuff. You can't keep the Manikin alive like that. It can't live knowing that there's a better bloodline. And I keep it a secret because there's this illusion now that there's this world that exists without my bloodline. So now they're thinking, oh, we can just do whatever we want. We can just live however we want. God can't stop us. His Messiah, his body on earth can't stop us. We can do whatever we want and nothing is going to stop us from conquering it. And then I have to slowly emerge with my powers, with my voice, with my magic. And I don't make these videos for people to watch them. I just make them for me to understand myself a little bit better because I'm still in this mortal world where things have to be kind of slow, where things move a little bit differently, and you have to just enjoy the process, unfortunately. When I was younger, I used to be like, boom, I want this, I want that, I need this, I need that, and it's gonna get done, and it would get done. Now I have to wait because the Manikins are taking up so much data in the world. They're heavy. Manikins are heavy. They just take up everything in the world. They take up your opportunities, they take up your life, they take up your possibilities, they take away your potential. Yeah, so when I'm talking to the camera, I'm talking to myself, and I don't really believe that there's anybody else out there that's gonna go to heaven, to be honest. So I don't really have hope for you guys, but I just put it out there anyways because I want to have some positive feedback. But I just know that Manikins exist on the earth. I remember on MySpace days, I used to write the meanest stuff in the earth, and I would have tons of fans, and then there would be like a couple people that would be like, you're so mean, and I'll be like, yeah, duh, you're ugly, you're not worth it, get out of here. And that's true. Okay, so for me, it's not about like, oh, I look perfect, I have a six-pack, I'm so flawless. Like, no, that's not what makes me better. I'm gonna go to heaven and you're gonna go to hell. That's what makes me better, honestly. And that's the funny part, because people will lead, if they lean towards like the hot stuff, they're Manikins, because the Manikin does that. The Manikin wants that hot world, you know what I'm saying? Because they think like, oh, if I have an idol, if I just look towards that direction, I can look there instead of at God, because God is like so freaking stunning. Yeah, I think the more we talk about it, I think the more we'll kind of get a little bit better idea of like how God works, okay? And what's so special about it with my bloodline? So we already talked about Noah, how he had a son, and then his son had a son named Asher. So that's the Ashkenazi bloodline. And that Ashkenazi bloodline ruled all over the earth, created so many civilizations, and the Manikins slowly take over the civilizations because they just keep breeding there. And you just get like a whole bunch of Manikins because they don't know how to move, they don't know how to live, they don't know how to experience. So they get stuck in one place for too long. So my family went all over the earth, did all these things, came down to America and was like, all right, now we're gonna have the chosen one, and that's me, obviously. I hate having to say those kinds of things because it's like me telling people that I'm the Messiah, that I'm the Antichrist, that I'm God and the devil put together. That's just weird, right? Like, come on, who's gonna believe that? It's cringy, yuck. And like, wouldn't you expect him to be perfect? I'm not perfect. Like, I have a little brow line here, like I have like a tooth bigger right there, I have all these moles, I have pimples, I have a double chin. Like, no, God doesn't look like that. The perfect world doesn't look like that. The supreme being doesn't look like that. Well, I guess then you're a Manikin if that's the way you think, because I'm really flawless, I'm gorgeous, people tell me all the time. I get so much compliments. I could do whatever I want with my looks, but I don't. I don't, because it's gross. It's weak. It's beneath me. I have to do things my way. If I don't do it my way, then it's your way. And your way sucks. You're a mannequin. You will never be... Your taste is nothing. You have no taste. Coronavirus already exposed you. You have no taste. Only the mannequins got it. Why? Because you're fakes and you don't believe in God. Let's be real about it. You know... There's this thing in Israel right now with Gaza, and they're trying to send ships to go feed the people in Gaza. And I'm really proud of Israel, because I'm like, you guys are finally standing up for yourself. You guys are finally proving that there's a force out there that needs to be reckoned with. And if they let these things go by and they don't fight back, then I'm going to be like, I knew you were mannequins. Because there are mannequins. They're mannequins. They're fake Jews. They're not real Jews. Let's be real. The Ashkenazi is a real Jew. I'm a real Jew. I'm a real Hebrew. I'm a real bloodline. Egyptian Pharaoh all the way. Babylonian all the way. Like, all the things that you read in the Bible that you hate, I'm those and more. All the things that you love in the Bible, I'm those and more. Like, you'll never be anything that what I am. You are literally, you were created with bad magic. With somebody that was doing some real creepy ritual stuff. That's how you were created. Me, I was created through love and light and beauty and grace. But you were created through like some really disgusting rituals. The mannequin is such an abuser. It goes after people, other mannequins, and they take from those mannequins, and then they created you. Like, they forced themselves to create you. They didn't have to do that with me. They had love, they had light, they had hope and dreams and possibilities. My family had that. My family has that now still. But the mannequins, they don't have that. The mannequins have no dreams, they have no hopes, and they only ride on other people's hopes. So they build this fake narrative that there's a real world for them out there, but it doesn't exist. Even if I was to die, even if bad things were to happen to me, at the end of the day, you're still going to go to hell. When that person dies on the news, he's going to hell. If you see them on the news, they're in hell. They're not in heaven. No. My bloodline allows me to go to heaven. It doesn't force me into hell. I could go to hell to torture people, but I don't have to be tortured in hell. The demons obey me. But then we have these angel figures, okay? Let's talk about the angel figures a little bit, because we need to kind of expose them. So we're kind of learning about Castle Demon Lord, right? So we have this bloodline, Ashkenazi, Maura O'Neill, that's coming through with all this magical blood, with all this great energy, like Children of Cersei, Morgan Le Fay, King Arthur, like just heroic figures in society and in nature and all these kinds of things, like the first beings, the true first beings, okay? Pure bloodline. There's not a million of us. There's not a ton of us all over the place. It's just very small, concentrated bloodline. And that's perfect for the mannequin, because he's like, well, we could just take over the earth, and what can a couple of people do? They can't do nothing to us. There's nothing there. But that's where you're wrong, okay? Because I have really good magic. I have really great magic. I have powerful magic. Mannequins do not have magic. Let's remember that. If you ever see a mannequin perform magic, it's not true. It's not real. They do things with this cruelty, with this pain, with this hate, this anger, this fury. But deep down inside, they are so scared. They're afraid. They're wretched beings. They're beneath the worms. Even the worms don't want to eat them. They're nothing. They're less than anything that could come out of a human body. They're nothing. They don't even really exist. That's why they're always talking about algorithms and is the world a simulation, because they're mannequins. They don't really exist. They're NPCs beneath NPCs. They're like an error or a glitch, and it's not in a good way. It's not cute. It's not funny. And they love that. They love it so much. They love to be just nothingness. And they want you to feel that, because they want you to spend up these good amount of years that you have on this earth. Like, these amount of years that you have in this world are so freaking precious and beautiful. But the mannequin doesn't want you to acknowledge that. It wants you to note, like, to eat up your time. It wants you to be bored. It wants you to be depressed. It wants you to be sad with it. Misery loves company. That's the mannequin. It can do it from a million miles away where you're not even around any mannequins, but they will do their best to come and get you. They'll walk through the spirit realm, just grab a piece of your soul. And that's why you have to fight back in the spiritual realm. Because in the physical realm, they're wussies. They can't do nothing to you. In the spiritual realm, they're so annoying because they take up all the prayer space. Like, you're like, I'm praying to God. I want good things to happen in my life. And here comes the mannequin running. God, please give it to me instead. If you're not going to give it to me, I'll just take it. And they just take those opportunities from you. All those good ideas, all that good life from you. It's annoying. So you work on your magic, you work on your defenses, you get stronger, and you start destroying them in the spiritual realm. And little by little, they start crumbling before your very eyes. And it's a beautiful thing. Alright, give me a second because Kat's on her way, and we know how that goes. Alright, we're back. We have Kat, the guest, in the back. I have her over here on the side so you can't see her. But, yeah. So let's see, where else can we go a little bit with this genealogy, with this mythology? Let's see. What I'm getting right now is like my grandfather. So if he has like this king chief energy, and everybody would listen to him and do what he wanted because he was like the wise man, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the chief is. He's the guy that knows everything. So he knew everything. He knows everything. He knows how to get things done. He knows right from wrong. He knows what a man should and shouldn't do. And he has his own flavors, his own tastes. He knows how to take care of himself. He knows how to take care of others. He's like beyond what a good person is. He was like, a model American. He had his flag in front of his house. He drove a Ford truck. He had his own house. He had a couple houses, actually. He was a rich, wealthy man. He knew what he was doing, but he gave a lot. He shared a lot. He was very kind. He would help others in the community, and everybody would look up to him. And he had, like, really incredible friends. And let's kind of dab a little bit into why the Native Americans hated him. So then the Native Americans would be mad because he did everything that he wanted to do, and he didn't have to follow their rules, and he didn't have to be like them, and he would still get away with doing what he wanted to do. So let's show an example. Okay, so you have the mannequin. It wants you to do everything that it wants to do. It wants to do everything a certain way, but when it sees you doing what you want, it gets mad, but it has no choice but to follow you. It has no choice but to copy you. That's super annoying. And that's how you could tell what a mannequin is. And like, I can be interested in a person and want to do things with them and learn about them and follow them, but I can do things that are mannequin in essence, but the difference is the bloodline. Like, I can do those things. Mannequins cannot, but they still do it anyways. And why? Because they're like, you know what? What makes your bloodline different than mine? What makes you so special? We're all created equal. We're all the same. No, we're not. We're not created equal. We're not the same. My bloodline's just pure bon appetit. Yours is, oh god, that's scary. You're going to hell kind of bloodline. Like, your parents did bad things. What makes you think you're going to go to heaven? That's why people don't like Catholics. Let me tell you that. I was baptized Catholic. I grew up Christian. I was raised Mormon. I went through all the religions. I have Jehovah's Witness. I got it all. I know all the religions. I know everything that's going to happen. I know what it's like, okay? I'm the one world religion, if we're going to be honest, okay? So we have the mannequin, and it doesn't like those rules and restrictions, and it doesn't want to follow them. It doesn't want to be honorables, and that's where the Catholic thing kind of comes in. So like in the Catholicism, when somebody commits suicide, they go to hell. When somebody dies, they're gonna go to hell. You're gonna go to hell one way or another. Like, you're going to hell. You're only gonna go to heaven if God lets you, and that's a if. That's probably not gonna happen. Like, you gotta live your life to the best on this earth, and even then, it's not guaranteed that you're gonna go to heaven. It's not, because you could still be a bad person. You could still be like your parents are bad, so you're still gonna go to hell. See, but my family, we have this really nice, beautiful bubble. And it's super sacred and blessed. And we have beautiful genes and genetics and DNA. And it makes us unique, powerful, and just everything that God wants. The mannequin doesn't have that. The mannequin has a different DNA, a different gene, a different cell. It's something that is like being tortured in hell, and it exists through you, the mannequin. We don't have that. We don't have that DNA that says we're going to go to hell. We have the DNA that says we are heaven. We are what makes this world beautiful. And without us, you guys don't exist. Like, if we all died off, this world wouldn't exist. There would be no world. It's beyond narcissism. And that's beautiful for us, because we're allowed to do that. But the mannequin, you're not allowed to do that. So the mannequin tries to do everything that it wants. It tries to do so much just to try to pretend to be us. And the reason is because the more it takes over our roles in society, the better of a chance it has to live out to the fullest potential that it has. That it could just be whatever it wants. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's still going to go to hell. But it's okay, because that's its job, is to mess up our lives. So we can learn how to use magic against it. So we can learn how to destroy them through the spiritual realm. And the reason why I bring these kind of topics up and I like to speak about them is a special thing that is what happens in my family. So when I say my family, I'm specifically saying me, because I'm the head of the family. I'm what's most important. Like me, I'm the most crucial part of my family. Without me, my family would be nothing. If I die, my family is nothing. If anything bad happens, my family is nothing. Like, there would be no hope for them. There would be nothing good in life for them. They wouldn't want to exist in this world without me. Trust me. They already say it all the time. But if you die, the world gets better. If the mannequin dies, the world is so much better off without you. Let's be real. Okay, but let's kind of turn the knob a little bit back in the direction of where I wanted to go. So if the mannequin goes to hell and I'm going to heaven and I'm the head of the family and my family is really important and blessed, what makes us so different, what makes us so much better, we already know that my bloodline comes directly from God's blessed bloodline. So we're basically the children of God. And you guys are just mannequins. You don't really exist in this world. You're just cyber bars. Like, you're just DNA. You're just digital information that has been manifested into this world. You don't truly exist. Your timeline never existed. Your history never existed. You're just put here to be basically ritual sacrifice, I guess. You know when you play a video game and you defeat an enemy and you're like, whoa, I wonder what happened to him, in that world, what happens to them? That's the same thing that's going to happen to you. You're the video game character. You're an NPC. You're not important at all. You'll never be the main character. I'm the main character, period. I'll never not be the main character. Okay. Yeah, so I'm the most important thing. I think we're getting the point of that. Yeah, I was gonna go somewhere with that. I had like a really good idea, but when things slip like that, it's because the mannequin, they know what they're doing. My spirit works like this. I'm in the spiritual realm. I'm like this huge vortex, and there's the world all in me and around me and through me. And then the mannequins are like slowly just floating through these atmospheres, and I'm destroying them one by one. And it's taking so long to destroy them, but there's moments where they can kind of like move past your vision and kind of distract you and make you forget things. Like, they just take up too much of your time, your patience, your prayers. Like, they take up too much spiritual space. They take up too much data. They're just bad for the system, so we have to destroy them. There just can't be anymore. And you'd be like, well, why do mannequins exist? Why do I exist? And it's so that we could destroy you in the spiritual realm with magic, because it's gonna happen. It's a way for us to test our abilities. It's a way for us to grow. It's a way for us to work on these spiritual gifts. Because magic is super powerful. It's super easy, but at the same time, it's super difficult. It's super intelligent. It's like very malleable, and you have to just kind of keep working at it until you get it right. So, okay, that's where I was going to go. All right. So we have this thing, all right? I remember when I was younger, I would be like, okay, the world's going to end in 2012. And me and my friends would say it. I'd be like, yeah, let's just start a rumor that the world's going to end in 2012. Everybody started believing it. Everybody. And it just kept going and going and going and going. And then finally, when everybody started saying it, like on the news and on TV and on social media, we were like, mission accomplished, because we would say it all the time. We're like, yeah, the world's going to end in 2012. This is what's going to happen, yada, yada, yada. So that's the gift that I have. I can say something and it's going to come true one way or another. And what I was like, you know what? Whenever I tell the truth, it still comes true. Whenever I tell a lie, it still comes true. I'm very psychic, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's beyond just being psychic and foretelling a future. I'm creating a future, obviously. But it's more a little bit different. So it's not the power of suggestion, it's a different kind of energy. It's a statement that is permanent in the laws of the world, is concrete. I remember this guy, he like built his house and he had this fence made out of concrete, but it looked like wood, so if somebody drove into it, the car would break. That's kind of how I like to use my magic. I like to create this perfect structure that can take so much damage but damage everything else around it. So when my family speaks, me specifically, when I speak and I say something, it's going to come true, and it has its laws. It's like permanent. So let's say, okay, me making these videos isn't for you, the audience, because you don't even exist. You're not real. You're not watching my videos. There's nobody out there. It's just me, that I like to just go over my videos and look at them. I just like to be able to talk and have videos to make. But the more I make videos like this, the more I talk about it, it's going out into the world. It's going out into the internet. It's going out into this stream of life. Everything is a stream of life, okay? If you've ever played Final Fantasy VII, they have a thing called Mako energy, which is the lifeblood of the earth. And it's just running through everything. Electricity, the wind, the earth, the wood, everything you can imagine. Just your thought process, just speaking about it. But when you can talk about it and let it out into the world, you're breaking boundaries. You're breaking barriers. You're doing new things. And eventually you're going to see the mannequin doing the same thing, but it's not going to have an effect. But all the other mannequins are going to pretend it does, so that way they can keep the lie going. But I want to really break that. I want to make sure that they can't do that. I want to make sure that they can't keep fighting. I want to make sure that I take their life away from them, their soul. I want to drain them of their essence, so they can't exist on this plane any longer. So the more I make videos, the more I speak about it, it's putting into the world. I'm projecting my energy into the world, and it's creating a world that I want. So this world that I want is called Castle Demon Lord, and it's about revelations. It's about me, the Demon Lord, and I'm Jesus and the Messiah and the Antichrist and the Whore of Babylon, all wrapped into one. Just a beautiful disaster, just one strong being, good and evil, completely a force to be reckoned with. No opposition, nothing better, nothing better than me, nothing even close to being better than me. There's no other Antichrist, there's no other Messiah, there's nothing. No, there's only one. That used to be a rule back then, that there was only one God, that there was only one Messiah, that there was only one Jesus. Like, only one thing. There was nothing more powerful, nothing more stronger. It was always just one thing. But nowadays, we have people that aren't very smart, that don't know anything. I'll tell you how they're not smart. So back in the 90s, if we go all the way back to the beginning of the video, in the 90s, people were so dumb. But they were also really smart to know that there was a strict set of rules about how the world works, about how God works. But as time passed, all your parents started becoming people that were like supposedly smart because they survived so long, because I helped them, because I taught them how to do things. And the more I taught your families and your friends how to do things, they started passing on that knowledge to you. And then you started feeling special, like you knew something, that you were special, that you were great. And I loved it. I was like, yeah, everybody's special, everybody's great. But at the end of the day, no, you're not. When I turned the script and I'm like, you know what? This was all a mistake. You were all just part of the plan of destruction. Like, it had to be this way. It just had to be. Like, there's no excuse for it. There's no purpose for it. It just is what it is. You're just mistakes. You're mannequins. You're meant to be destroyed in the spiritual realm. It's just a test to prove that I'm the king. And I have to do it. I have to prove that I'm the king. I have to. There's no ifs and or buts. It's my destiny. It's my goal in life. There's nothing better, nothing worse. Yeah. The thing is also, like, there's going to be people out there who are like, well, I'm a good person. I do all these good things. And I'm going to be like, no, I don't care. I don't need to know anything about you to know that I don't want you in anywhere near my energy. But you have to be around people in this medium of the world. Oh, it's so tedious. The mannequin makes everything so horrible and worse. Like, it just ruins the whole experience. Like, you're at Disneyland and then there's this guy that smells like crap. That's the mannequin. And they're everywhere. They just smell so bad. They just do not know how to take showers. They don't know how to smell good. They put on way too much cologne sometimes, or perfume. They think spraying their ass is going to make it smell better. No, it's not. You stink. You're ugly. You're disgusting. Like, you'll never be cute. You're just a follower. You're just a wannabe. You're just a poser. And I hate mannequins. Ugh. Disgusting, right? But, yeah. I don't know what to tell you guys. But let's see. Where are we going with our magic rituals? Where are we going with our powers? Where are we going with this idea of Castle Demon Lord? So you have this Messiah, you have this Antichrist, not opposing, but as one being. So you have this one ultimate being. And it's out there that wants to destroy the earth. And it's using magic to destroy humanity. To destroy all these mannequins. To send them to hell. Then we have in the spiritual realm a thing called angels. And angels are beings that have this energy that can help others and protect them or guide them or lead them or bring them information. They're worse than demons, if we're going to be honest. I try to work with the angels in a way where I'm, I want to see, like, come on, angels. Like, when I was younger and I used to work with the angels, they work really good. I feel like I have these group of angels that I work really good with, and then there's these other angels that just don't do their job. Like, they're just not real angels. Let's be real. So, like, I can summon Archangel Michael, and he'll go and do what I need him to do. I'll summon Archangel Gabriel. He'll go do what I need him to do. But there's just something about them that is just weak. That I look at them and I'm like, no, you're not good enough for me. I don't like it. I think I'll destroy Archangel Michael. I think I will destroy Archangel Gabriel. I think I will destroy all those angels everybody loves. I think that when they move through the spiritual realm, they're not working for me. They're working against me. And I think that they want to believe that there's something better out there, but there isn't. So I have to destroy them. So a lot of times in my rituals, I'll make sure that energy comes down and obliterates the angel. And the good thing is, when you damage an angel, it damages the mannequins, because the mannequins need those angels to survive. Without those angels, they can't survive without them. They can't live in the spiritual realm without them. But there's a ton of angels. How do they get their wings? There's a lot of rituals where they sacrifice birds, and then now there's an angel. So like, let's say somebody sacrifices a bird for you or somebody you know, and they create a guardian angel for you. I have to destroy that angel. But the more I keep going into my magical realms, the more I keep using my magic, I can start picking off more of your magical ley line, your veins, whatever it is that's fueling your magic. Because your magic's not real, so what's giving it that life? So I kind of go in there and I find out what it is. And I do my investigations and I try to figure it out. And, mannequins are science. They're very complex, but very simple at the same time. But I'm trying to figure out how to destroy them faster and faster and faster. And I think I'm getting a little bit better, but I think I want to be more efficient. Like, I have to be super, super efficient at things that I do. Like, when I play video games, I like to be the best. And I like to create strategies that are very, unbeatable, that, are super simple and don't take up too much energy or time. Because I don't have all the time and energy in the world to do everything that you guys want. I have to do it my way. I want it my way. I want the world to be rid of the mannequins so I can live a beautiful life and create my own cities and countries and worlds. And it'll happen. Sometimes I think, why didn't my ancestors do that? But I'm like, you know what? Maybe they did. Maybe they did stomp out the mannequins here and there. And then they moved along, and then the mannequins would regrow and come back. And then they started, copying way too much. And then eventually my family was like, all right, now that David's born, he's the special one. He's the one that has God's body. He's the Ark of the Covenant in real life. there's like this story, okay, that like back then they were holding the Ark of the Covenant, and that was my body. So then when they brought my body to America, it was already composed in a way where it was in our blood by that point. So then it created me in my DNA, so I have that form. So we have in Lancaster, that's where I was born. We have these mountains called the Los Angeles Mountains, and then there's a Devil Punch Bowl, and it's this beautiful crater that looks like molten lava that's green, like a meteor fell and hit in the crater. And there's this thing called the Devil's Chair, and when I was a little baby they would take me there all the time, and it was just my home. And it just makes sense because like that's where I came from. That star that fell into the earth, that was me, that was my energy. And over time, you know, civilization back to me, and now it's like full circle, so I have to just destroy everything. There's a part of me that knows what life is supposed to be like, what it's supposed to look like, and I'm not there. I'm at the bottom. I'm homeless. So if I'm homeless and I have nothing, then there's something wrong with the world. And then I have to look at the mannequin and I have to destroy it because I want to. I'm so bored I have to destroy mannequins in the spiritual realm. I have to destroy angels. I would destroy demons, but they work really good for me. When I'm like, hey, I want this and that done, they go and do it. They make it happen. But the angels, they just stand in the way and I have to destroy them. So in the spiritual realm, I have to bind them. It's a lot of psychic work, I'll tell you that much. But the more I do it, the better I get at it. The more I do it, the more they learn. The more I do it, the more destruction I create, and the more happier I'll be. Yeah, like today I could have proven that I had like psychic abilities, but I just kept my mouth shut and I was like, you know what, I'll let it play out. And it happened the way I was thinking. I was like, yep, nice. You know, I have the abilities, but I just have to tap into it. The only boring part is you're my audience. The mannequin's my audience. So maybe I have to make it more fun for the mannequin, huh? Or make it so funny for me that I can explain to the mannequin why I have to destroy them. And I have to remember that the mannequin will never understand this language. The mannequin will never understand what I'm saying. They'll never understand any of it. It's just for me. Just so I can have something to think about, something to keep myself entertained while I'm destroying you retards. But that's Castle Demon Lord. That's my story. That's how magic works over there. Mannequins have no powers. I go and destroy them. I create archons to destroy them. But maybe later we'll talk about a little bit more about what rituals I'm doing. Alright, this was the Illuminati Broadcast. I'm David Moore, and have a great day.